Snow pressed against the windows that night, soft and muffled, but inside the dining room the air felt sharp. I had paid for every dish on the table, every blinking strand of lights wrapped around the banister. Yet my mother, Linda, carved the Christmas turkey like I was barely in the room. She did not look up when she said it. After New Year's, "Sage, you need to move out." Aunt Jolene froze with her fork halfway to her mouth. My younger sister, Taryn, stared at her plate the way people stare at an exit they cannot reach. I kept my hands still on the table, though something inside me snapped so fast it felt almost silent. I said, "Move out." Linda's tone stayed cool. "This setup is unhealthy for me. I need my space back." There was no anger in her voice, no grief, only a casual dismissal, like she had been waiting for the moment I stopped being useful. Aunt Jolene cleared her throat. "Linda, she has been helping you." My mother slid the turkey onto a platter. "I never asked her to." Taryn's shoulders curled inward. She did not defend me. She did not look at me. I swallowed the cold gathering in my chest. "I pay the mortgage, the bills, the groceries." Linda shrugged. "That was your choice." "Sage." The room went completely still. I realized I was being evicted from the house I rescued. I steadied my voice. "Before I get into the rest, tell me where you're listening from. It reminds me that someone out there understands, even if the people at this table do not. A year earlier, my life fit inside a 400-square-foot studio in Capitol Hill, and it felt like the first thing I had ever truly owned. I worked remote shifts as a junior network analyst, answering calls, patching servers, and building a quiet kind of independence one paycheck at a time. My phone rang one evening while I was troubleshooting a firewall error. I almost ignored it, but the tremble in my mother's voice stopped me. "Sage, I need you. The house is in trouble." I stood up so fast my chair scraped the floor. What kind of trouble? Her breath hitched. 3 months late on the mortgage. The power bill, the gas bill, everything. I cannot fix it alone. Taryn spoke faintly in the background. "Mom, just tell her," my mother whispered. "If we lose the house, your father's things will be taken too." My chest tightened. That was the moment everything shifted. I stepped out onto the small balcony of my studio, the one place where I could think, and pressed the phone tighter to my ear. My mother's breathing filled the line, uneven and panicked. The bank sent another notice. She said, "We are 90 days behind. Sage, 90. I closed my eyes. "How much is the mortgage? $1,420 each month," she whispered, like the number itself could bruise her. "And the utilities? The power bill is $312. The water is $187. The gas is $440. The internet is $128. I heard Taryn in the background, her voice small. "Mom, you have to tell her the rest." My mother's voice cracked. "There is no savings left. None." I thought I could catch up, but I cannot. A cold ache spread through me. "Why didn't you call sooner? I did not want you to think I failed," she said. "Your father kept this house together, and without him, she broke off." I pictured the doorway in Tacoma where Mark had penciled our heights, the old jacket of his still hanging in the hall closet, untouched since the funeral. "If the bank takes the house," she whispered, "they will throw it all out." The words landed like a blow. I leaned against the railing, gripping the phone. "Okay," I said quietly. "I will come home." There was relief on the other end, heavy, immediate, and so complete it felt like a weight settling on my shoulders long before I returned to Tacoma. I broke my lease 2 days later, paying an early termination fee of $850 I had not budgeted for. When I called my landlord, he said, "You sure about this?" "Sage, you worked hard for that place." "I have to," I told him. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Packing was quick. A few clothes, my laptop, The plants I kept alive out of stubbornness. Everything else stayed. By the time I drove south toward Tacoma, rain streaked across the windshield in heavy lines. My mother opened the door before I knocked. She threw her arms around me, gripping tight enough to steal my breath. "You saved us," she said into my shoulder. "You are my lifeline." Taryn hovered behind her, relieved but tense. "Thanks for coming home," she murmured, not quite meeting my eyes. Inside, the house felt smaller than I remembered. "I will get the bills organized," I said, setting my bag down. "We can build a plan." My mother exhaled dramatically. "Thank God you understand numbers." I was drowning. For a moment, gratitude felt real. I paid the overdue utilities that night and scheduled the first mortgage payment for the next morning. As I typed the confirmations, I heard my mother say quietly to Taryn, "See, this is why Sage always does the hard things." Taryn didn't answer. She just glanced at me with something like guilt. Later, alone in the guest room, I created a folder on my laptop labeled Whitlow Expenses. I did not know why I felt the need to save every document, but my fingers moved before my thoughts did. It was the first boundary I drew without realizing it. By the third month, the thank yous stopped. Responsibilities I thought I was sharing quietly shifted until they belonged entirely to me. One morning, while I was reviewing firewall logs for work, my mother called from the living room, her tone sharp. "Sage, the internet is crawling again. Ever since you moved in with all your equipment, I cannot stream anything." I muted my call. "My router is on a separate band. Your shows are not affected." She folded her arms. "Well, something you did is slowing things down." Later that week, I walked in after a 10-hour shift to find the dishwasher blinking clean. My mother leaned against the counter, scrolling her phone. "Oh, good," she said without looking up. "You can unload it. My back is acting up today." I set my bag down. "It did not act up when you were shopping with Jolene yesterday." Her eyes narrowed, but she did not respond. Taryn sat nearby at the table, chewing her lip. "Just let it go. Sage. Mom's overwhelmed." The words pricked deeper than she meant them to. "I am overwhelmed too," I said quietly. Taryn looked away. "You are strong. You always handle things." That sentence echoed something from years earlier, a memory I had tried to bury. I had been 13, standing on the porch with my father, Mark. He knelt beside me and said, "People will lean on you because you do not break. One day you will need to decide what is yours to carry." His voice slipped between the cracks of the present, and the truth hit harder than any bill I had paid. I wanted to believe this was all temporary. So, when December crept close, I clung to one hope. Christmas will make things better, I told myself. But the house kept taking, and none of us were saying the words that mattered. By Christmas Eve, I had poured every ounce of hope into that dinner. I spent the entire day cooking rosemary turkey, potato casserole, ginger rolls moving through the kitchen like someone trying to stitch a family back together with food. When Aunt Jolene arrived, she clasped my hands dramatically. "My God, Sage, this looks beautiful," she said. "Your mother must be so proud." Linda stepped in before I could answer. "We worked hard," she replied, her voice light, her smile rehearsed. I swallowed the bitterness rising in my throat. I had worked alone. At dinner, Jolene launched into stories about her co-workers, and Taryn pushed her peas around in circles. I kept waiting for something warm to settle between us, some sign that this night mattered. Instead, my mother set down her fork and said in the same tone one might use to comment on the weather, "After New Year's, Sage, you need to move out." The air collapsed. Jolene blinked fast. "Linda, what are you saying?" Taryn stared at her lap, shoulders tight, her silence an admission she already knew. I forced my voice steady. "Move out. I pay the mortgage, the bills, The groceries. Linda lifted her napkin, unbothered. You chose to. I cannot live like this anymore. Your presence creates tension. Tension. My throat burned. You are always stressed. It ruins the energy of the house. My jaw clenched. I am stressed because I am carrying the house. She waved that away. You make everything heavy. Sage, Jolene whispered. She saved this place. Linda's smile sharpened, and now it is time for her to focus on her own life somewhere else. The humiliation hit like cold water. I pushed my chair back, its legs scraping the floor. I understand, I said quietly. Taryn finally looked up, eyes wide with something between guilt and fear. But she said nothing. I stood, gathered my plate, and walked into the kitchen. My hands shook as I set it in the sink, but my voice when it came was calm. I will be gone before the year ends. I went upstairs without another word, the echoes of clinking silverware following me like a closing door. In my old lavender-walled bedroom, I sat on the edge of the mattress and waited for tears that never came. My hands felt numb, but my mind was clear in a way that frightened me. I opened the closet and pulled down the suitcase I had not touched since moving home. Dust scattered across my palms. I unzipped it slowly, as if any sudden movement might break whatever was left of me. Taryn appeared in the doorway, her voice barely above a whisper. Sage, can we talk? I folded a sweater. There is nothing to talk about. She did not mean it like that. I turned to her. She meant every word. Taryn flinched, then stepped back. I am sorry, she murmured, but she did not come closer. When the house finally went quiet, I placed the last charger into my bag. No sentimental things. No pieces of a life that had drained me. I slipped out through the side door by the garage a little after 1 a.m. Snow floated across the driveway in thin white trails. The cold hit my face, sharp but clean. At the Sundown Motel near Ruston Way, the night clerk slid a key across the counter. Long night, he asked. I nodded. Long enough. In the dim room, I lay down fully clothed and slept until late afternoon, without anyone calling to ask where I had gone. On the third afternoon at the motel, my phone finally buzzed. It was Taryn. Her first message read, "You need to see what Mom is saying. The second, I am sorry." I did not know she would twist it this far. Before I could reply, Aunt Jolene's name lit up my screen. She did not bother with a greeting. Sage, I heard you threw a tantrum on Christmas. Linda says you shattered plates and screamed that you were done with the family. How could you walk out on her like that after everything she has done? I sat on the edge of the motel bed, staring at the peeling laminate floor. I did not scream. I did not break anything. She told me to leave. Jolene exhaled sharply. Linda would never. Her voice faltered. Even she did not sound convinced. I have receipts, I said quietly. Every bill I paid. Every mortgage payment. All of it. There was a long pause. Sage, give me a moment, she murmured, then hung up. That night, I opened my laptop and pulled up the folder I created the week I moved home Whitlow expenses. Each file was a piece of the truth my mother refused to acknowledge. I typed slowly, choosing every word with care. No accusations, no anger, only dates, amounts, confirmations, and the exact conversation from Christmas Eve. When I finished, I ended the post with one line. I am safe, and I hope honesty finds our family again someday. I turned off my phone and lay back on the thin motel pillows. By morning, my notifications had multiplied into the hundreds. Messages flooded in shock, apologies, confusion. But not one of them was from my mother. A week later, I signed a lease for a small studio in Tacoma's Stadium District. The laminate floors creaked when I walked, and the window looked out toward the bay, but the space was mine. Every bill, every moment belonged to me alone. On my second evening there, someone knocked 3 soft taps. I knew before I opened the door. My mother stood in the hallway holding a Marionberry pie in a plastic container. Her makeup was perfect, her expression carefully arranged. "I heard you moved here," she said. "I thought I would stop by." I stepped outside and closed the door behind me, leaving only the hallway between us. She lifted the pie slightly. "Are you not going to invite me in?" "It is cold out here." I kept my voice steady. "Did you come to apologize?" Her smile thinned. "I do not think I have anything to apologize for. We both made mistakes. But that post you made, Sage, you embarrassed me." There it was. The truth she had always lived by. "This is not about embarrassment," I said. "It is about everything you expected me to carry, and how easily you told me to leave once I stopped being useful." Her eyes hardened. "After everything I did for you, you are shutting me out." "After everything I did for you," I replied. "You told me to go." I finally listened. For a moment, she looked at me, really looked, and found nothing she could bend. I stepped back. "Take care of yourself, Mom." I closed the door quietly. Inside, I breathed, feeling my life settle into place. And if you are listening to this, tell me where you are from, because people who walk away from families like mine deserve to know they are not walking alone.